Here you have Sid Blumenthal, who really wants to make some bank by getting some of his business associates on the ground floor of a new Libyan regime, is giving her all of this information. And I mean, it's so reckless that he ties everything together, and it's basically our job of investigating this has been made easier. Tell us about this.
Well, you know, the New York Times, of all places, has been really great on all of this. You know, essentially, Blumenthal was working as an advisor for a bunch of people who wanted contracts to rebuild Libya after it was bombed by the U.S. and NATO. And Blumenthal was working all sides of the street. He was talking to Hillary Clinton as an informal advisor, and he had no expertise on Libya, but it was being passed around. He was working for the contractors, and then he was working for the Clinton Foundation, as you talked about. More recently, the New York Times has also found emails where he told Hillary Clinton within a day of the 2012 September 11th Benghazi attack that ended up killing Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans, that this was not a spontaneous demonstration keying off of events in Cairo. Rather, it was a long-planned attack thought through by terrorists who were affiliated with al-Qaeda. That's out there in the New York Times now. And, you know, the reason why I talked about Blumenthal as a kind of semen-stained dress is that, like Monica Lewinsky, for Hillary Clinton, you know, as you were saying, Blumenthal's been with the Clintons since the 90s, before he actually became a paid member of the White House staff under the Bill Clinton presidency. He was basically their handmaiden in the press. And he's floating around like a lot of things from the 90s that I think are going to really cause problems for Hillary Clinton, because coming out of that, it was a very unsavory White House, and she's got a lot of explaining to do for back then and now, you know, in the immediate, in her immediate past as what I think most people would agree was a total failure as a Secretary of State.
Oh, completely. And it's appalling that she would tell the Benghazi Select Committee that, oh, well, I'm only going to sit for 1 session with you. I know Trey Gowdy wanted to have 1 private session and then something that was broadcast to the public, and she's trying to call the shots here, saying, no, you only get 1 session with me. But, you know, Nick, with all of this stuff that's come out, as you were writing about over at Reason.com, I mean, if she's working with someone at the Clinton Foundation, he's set to make money off of his business associates being able to get into the ground floor of this new regime. She's working with him on it. I mean, that to me right there, I mean, that at least in the beginning would be enough.
Well, you know, the Clinton Foundation is a real millstone around her neck at this point, and I think that's only going to get bigger. It almost seems as if what she's trying to do is to get all of the mini scandals and big scandals out front now so that people have scandal fatigue. I think a lot of Americans already have Clinton fatigue. And, you know, this way we're through it. And if you recall the 90s at all, the great refrain was always, well, there's nothing new here. There's nothing new here. There's nothing new here. And one of the things that Bill Clinton really pioneered in terms of dealing with scandals was you just keep moving forward, because either, you know, if you don't give up, then your accusers do, or the people who are trying to bring this to other people's attention do. And I think Hillary Clinton, if nothing else, has, you know, an immense amount of determination to get through this stuff. And in a lot of ways, I think her fate mostly rests with the Democratic Party, and whether or not the Democratic Party is either going to push her not to go forward or come up with a legitimate contender within the Democratic ranks who would supersede her candidacy.